believe under these rigorous standards, they qualify to get a new trial.
Tonight, a setback for the high-profile Southern California murderers Eric and Lyle Menendez. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap on this Friday. I'm Frank Malicote. Today, LA County DA Nathan Hochman announced he wants the court to reject the Menendez brothers' petition for a new trial. He stopped short of saying whether the brothers, who admit they killed their parents in their Beverly Hills home decades ago, should be resentenced. Fox 11's Gina Silva explains where the case goes from here.
Lies and deceit and fabricating stories.
LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman made it very clear he does not believe there is new evidence that justifies a new trial.
Now remember, in 1989, August 20th, the issue is what is going on in Eric and Lyle's head. At the time, they shotgunned their parents 12 times to their death. Are they again have an actual fear of imminent harm and death, that their parents were going to kill them that night? Or was it a willful, premeditated, and deliberate act on their part?
Hochman, who released this detailed video of the Menendez case, pointed to numerous lies told by the brothers.
What we found out is that Eric and Lyle Menendez had told 5 different versions of the events of what had happened.
Their lies included claims that the mob had killed their parents and that Jose Menendez had raped Lyle's girlfriend. Plus,
and the 5th version is that both their father and their mother were going to kill them the night of August 20th, 1989, which is why they shot them first.
When the Menendez brothers presented a letter to a cousin detailing the alleged sexual abuse as new evidence for a retrial, Hochman dismissed it as both untimely and lacking credibility.
If they had this evidence, if this letter truly existed, the defense counsel would have absolutely used it at the trial.
I'm disappointed.
Author Robert Rand has been a strong supporter of the Menendez brothers.
Eric and Lyle Menendez did lie at certain points early on in this case 35 years ago. However, I think it's important to recognize the men that they are today. They were 18 and 21 at the time of the crime. They're now 54 and 57, and they're very different people.
Hochman declined to comment on the separate effort to have the brothers resentenced.
The court should deny the current habeas petition by the Menendez brothers.
The Menendez brothers will be in court on March 20th and 21st for a resentencing hearing. Reporting from downtown LA, I'm Gina Silva, Fox 11 News.
We spoke earlier today with TMZ about today's developments. Michael Babcock saying the DA doesn't have much time to decide whether to support a move to resentence the 2 brothers.
Sometime over the next couple of days, you would expect to find out where they stand. Do they support resentencing? If they do, I think it's still very possible that Eric and Lyle do walk out of that prison cell. If they don't, it seems like this is a long shot.
Meantime, Lyle Menendez told TMZ's Harvey Levin on his 2 Angry Men podcast that they have seen some of Ryan Murphy's Netflix series on the case, saying that he thinks it opened people's eyes to the, quote, childhood trauma that he and Eric say they suffered through. Well, a month after Southern California's firestorm, LA's Mayor Karen Bass has ousted the fire chief. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reports former chief supporters, they're outraged.
Was the president of the Fire Commission telling Chief Crowley to do an after-action report on the fires? The fire chief refused. We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch.
Angry criticism coming in from the city's firefighter union.
We are outraged at the termination of Fire Chief Crowley, period. In our opinion, Chief Crowley is being made a scapegoat, and she's being terminated for telling the truth.
As in speaking publicly about budget cuts affecting deployment during the devastating Palisades fire to our own Gigi Graciette.
Fire department needs to be properly funded.
And it's not.
It's not at this point.
The fire department was not cut. I have done 2 budgets in my time here. In both budgets, the budget was increased.
But firefighters say they received raises, but the operational budget was cut, which goes to why 1,000 firefighters were sent home the day of the fires.
Is because we didn't have enough engines, or trucks. You know why? Because they're in our field repair shops, maintenance yard, because we don't have enough mechanics to fix them. Mechanics that were cut by Mayor Bass's budget.
It's all being investigated, says the mayor, but
let me just be clear. Los Angeles needs to move forward.
echoing her, the new interim chief, retired Deputy Chief Ronnie Villanueva, a 41-year veteran of the department.
So I don't want to look backwards. I don't want to look to the past like the mayor stated. I just want to look for the future.
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting. According to Mayor Bass's office, Crowley has exercised her civil service right to remain with the department at a lower rank. It's unclear why Crowley refused to complete an after-action report. Helicopter crash in Idaho has become the 6th fatal aircraft incident in the West this year. Investigators say the helicopter went down late yesterday in an area of a reservoir east of Idaho Falls. CEO of Utah-based ATL Technology, Brad Brown, was the pilot. He did die in the accident. An unidentified passenger was taken to a hospital. The passenger's condition has not been disclosed.
A lot of agencies responded up here. The helicopter was located on the ice on the reservoir. It appears that a power line is down. There's only one spot that a big power line goes across, and so whether that's a factor in it or not, we're still trying to determine, but obviously it has something to do with it.
The FAA and the NTSB are leading the investigation into that crash in Idaho. FBI agents in Nevada say a woman used online dating apps to scam at least 4 men out of more than $1 million. All the men were drugged. 3 of them died. Investigators laid out details of what they call a sinister romance scheme in Las Vegas today. They say Aurora Phelps gained the trust of the victims, who were usually 60 to 70-year-old men. They say she would drug them and steal their money. And in one case, they believe she drained millions of dollars from a brokerage account.
Phelps's other alleged victims were found dead shortly after their encounters with her, and the one living victim mentioned in the indictment survived and emerged from a coma after Phelps administered large amounts of prescription sedatives to him over the course of a week.
Phelps is currently in custody in Mexico. She's facing a variety of charges, including kidnapping resulting in death, wire fraud, and identity theft. Well, 8 Western states battling a Trump administration over medical research funding won a partial victory today. Federal judge in Boston extended a temporary block of funding cuts at the National Institutes of Health. Earlier this month, the White House called for a cap on the portion of research grants that can be issued to pay support staff and other needs to 15%. Before that, 50% of grants could cover those expenses. Many medical researchers say those cuts would cause irreparable harm to clinical trials and other research. White House argues the executive branch has, quote, broad discretion power to make the cuts. Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, and Washington are among the states and organizations suing. Today's extension of the temporary block will last until the judge can rule on an injunction. Well, after facing backlash over job cuts at national parks across the country, Trump administration appears to be altering those plans. Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman reports the cuts have already forced the shutdown of some popular hiking trails in Washington.
The abrupt layoff of 1,000 national park jobs exactly a week ago, now dubbed the Valentine's Day Massacre.
The administration, just went into it with a meat cleaver rather than, a scalpel. I'm feeling very angry and very hurt.
Bill Wade, executive director of the Association of National Park Rangers, says the terminations were sudden and indiscriminate.
They were given about an hour to go to their office and turn in their government equipment and get their own personal equipment and leave the premises.
As Fox 13 has reported, the cuts have had immediate effects on local trails now closed due to lack of staff.
And there may be more in the mill, we're hearing rumors. It's just an awful lot of uncertainty right now, and that, of course, has people on edge to know Am I next?
Wade says the workforce was slashed by 775 employees last Friday, though the total number of affected positions is closer to 1,000. While official numbers are not available, he says Washington state employees are in the mix, including 6 terminations at Mount Rainier, 5 at Olympic National Park, and 2 at the Lake Roosevelt National Recreation Area.
It isn't just the loss of salary and benefits. It's that they had other expenses that were attributed, to moving or to being there.
In a new memo, the Department of Interior says it plans to hire 7,700 seasonal employees this year. That's up from the usual 6,300.
That's good news for sure. It just sounds like that there was not very good planning. As a result of the public reaction, they're having to walk back some of the decisions.
Wade warns the Trump administration backtracking isn't going to solve the issue in time for peak summer season, cautioning the hiring process is quite lengthy.
In many cases, they're not going to be on duty in parks until sometime after the summer season starts. And so I think visitors are still going to see some impacts.
And we want to thank you for joining us here on West Coast Wrap tonight. And by the way, that was Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman reporting. According to the Association of National Park Rangers, there has been understaffing of parks across the country for years now. Up next, imagine being a firefighter for a day. Up next, a Phoenix reporter trades in a microphone for a fire hose, a day in the life. Coming up next. And a Colorado skier recovering this week after being buried alive for over an hour. That heroic rescue when we come back.
And Frank, let's head to Los Angeles. A beautiful view of LAX on this Friday night. Now, it wasn't a record, but the temperature was 11 degrees above average. We'll talk about the West Coast Wrap forecast coming up after this brief timeout.
Welcome back. We've got an update tonight. In a high-profile murder case people are watching all across the country. The man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson appeared in court today in New York City. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is accused of gunning down Thompson on a sidewalk in Manhattan back in December. This is Mangione's first appearance since his arraignment back in December. He's charged with several state and federal murder charges. He has pleaded not guilty. And now to Hawaii, where a judge ordered the release of a man in prison for 30 years for murder. Gordon Cordero was convicted of killing a man on Maui back in 1994 during a drug deal robbery and then sentenced to life in jail. He has insisted his innocence all along, while the judge said new DNA testing would likely change the results of that trial. Well, relatives of one of the college students stabbed to death inside an Idaho home are sharing their take on the suspect's ongoing case. Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa reports a judge has denied the suspect's request to exclude key evidence.
Sitting down with Ethan Chapin's mom, Stacy, she says they're blessed to have had 20 years with him, but they're constantly finding a way to move forward.
It's always kind of right at the forefront, so you have to learn to live with that.
Ethan, along with Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez were stabbed to death in an off-campus home in November of 2022. Just last month, attorneys for Brian Koberger, the man accused of killing the 4 University of Idaho students, filed motions asking the court to throw out key DNA evidence in this case. This week, Judge Stephen Hippler denied those motions.
How could you not? Let's be honest. How could a judge not allow DNA? I mean, he basically said it in one of his hearings. He said, it's admissible every day and twice on Sundays. I mean, and that's how it would have been, you would have had to have fought tooth and nail if somebody didn't allow the DNA in it. That's crazy.
The ruling bringing the case one step closer to the trial scheduled to begin this summer. A trial the Chapin family has been adamant about not attending in the past.
I just feel this impending storm that's coming. We are, reconsidering, whether or not we'll go. That is a very difficult thing to think about. But, if we have to go, I don't know who else can represent Ethan other than his family.
Until then, Stacy's focus is on Ethan's siblings, who are set to graduate this May. As a triplet, Ethan would have been alongside them. His legacy now helping others get an education. The family started the foundation, which has since awarded $55,000 in scholarships to 35 kids, all in Ethan's name. Shira Matsuzawa, Fox 13 News.
Well, a lot of people in Colorado want a break from snow over the weekend. Images posted online show how new snowfall hit the Denver area this morning. Comes right on the heels of record low temperatures earlier this week. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who says conditions will shift over the weekend.
They sure will, Frankie, but boy, what a winter whiplash for them there in Colorado. You have to look mighty closely to see that area of low pressure. There it is, and it's already disintegrating as it's trying to traverse in an easterly direction. That was the real snowmaker. Now let's bring you back to the western states where we have a real big rainmaker, and it extends way out over the Pacific Ocean. The rain has already started around Vancouver. It's soggy this evening in Stanley Park, backing all the way through Seattle into Portland. In fact, this area of low pressure is also going to clip that northern portion of California, that northwestern section there. And once the futurecast illustrates that the rain is in earnest by 2 o'clock Saturday, look at Sunday, just as rainy all the way into Monday as well. This is going to tally up big time. In fact, I put together this rainfall forecast, and we're talking about nearly 4 inches of rain in throughout Portland, Oregon by Tuesday, and over a couple of inches across that northwestern corner of the state of California. Perhaps a little drizzle making it into the Santa Rosa area and the far reaches of the North Bay by late Saturday night into Sunday morning. What to expect already? Some flood watches, they are ready to go for Saturday night, right there around Olympic National Park. Also right here around Grays Harbor and Skagit in throughout central portions of Washington state. Now across the contiguous 48 states, yesterday we were -5 in Bismarck at this hour. Recovering, it's 21 degrees there. Wow. That's balmy. Okay, 60 degrees in Las Vegas, 70 in Phoenix, 57 degrees at this hour in Los Angeles. And meanwhile, in Seattle, where we do have rainfall, it is 50 degrees, and that's where you should be for this time of the year. As the sun did set in the San Francisco area, the high today 66, average high 61 degrees. But you want to talk averages, it should be 67 in Los Angeles. Instead, 79 degrees, not a record breaker. The record is 86 degrees. And then we head to Phoenix, where, boy, was it delightful. But it was warmer in L.A. than Phoenix at 78 degrees. Other notable numbers, this is the first time this year I've seen 80s in the Palm Springs area, mid-60s in Sacramento. And the West Coast forecast, again, rain to the north, a slight chance of some drizzle in San Francisco, but very nice temperatures. Lots of sunshine, Los Angeles. Hey, Denver, you're warming up, and it's gorgeous in Arizona. Hey, Frankie, have a good weekend.
You covered it all. Thank you, Roberta. You too. Well, it's not easy getting trained to be a firefighter. Fox 10's Nicole Christine got an up-close and personal look at the process.
Normally, we only have the opportunity to cover firefight from a distance. But today, we are literally stepping into the boots of our local firefighters for a day of training.
Since 80% of calls to fire departments and districts are medical, we start our training learning how to help someone experiencing a cardiac issue.
Lock my arms.
Yep, lock your arms out. There you go. There you go.
And it's more than just compressions. EMS crews are also administering IVs and intubating patients.
Blood pressure.
Training then moved outside, where we jumped right into a search and rescue mission. 4 people work on each fire truck, and all 4 are crucial to the firefight and the inside rescue. We learn the amount of synthetic materials in the construction and furniture of modern homes can lead to faster burns, making time a huge factor in every fire call. Now that we've saved Roger, we're taking our training to the roads to battle a blaze inside a car. Crews say electric vehicles now pose a new challenge due to the lithium-ion batteries used inside. Training today finished at the extrication station, where we broke the windows and used cutters and spreaders to take off the driver's door. The local 2260 firefighters, who represent 8 different fire municipalities and districts, then took over for a demo of a fire call where we saw an abrupt burning of superheated gases, also known as a backdraft, and watched the crew involved secure the building.
So after almost 4 hours of training, we have barely scratched the surface of what all of our local firefighters are doing on a daily basis to help save lives. Reporting in the East Valley, Nicole Christine, Fox 10 News.
Up next, a fast-acting rescue team in Colorado saves a skier who was buried in an avalanche for over an hour. More on that rescue coming up. In a tough economy, a lot of people say their dream homes are beginning to feel more like nightmares. Fox's Kennedy Hayes shows us how some people in Colorado are choosing to trade down to gain a little financial freedom.
When it comes to monthly costs to keep houses running, homeowners say they are feeling the pinch from inflation. Some sellers say they've come to realize their homes are just too big.
It's constant maintenance, so we come home from work and we're either cleaning or fixing things. So we're trying to figure out how to, or somewhere to go to downsize, and that's our big goal right now. It worked at the beginning, but now it's too much. Again, that less maintenance, and then we can spend more quality time with the family.
Annual cost to maintain a single-family home rose to an all-time high of $10,433 last year. If you add in property taxes, home insurance, and HOA fees, the number jumps to over $18,000 annually for a typical single-family home. Experts say some of the biggest ticket expenses that have increased the most are heating and air conditioning. Analysts say some maintenance costs like plumbing have gone up due to labor shortages, others like roof repair because of material shortages. According to Bankrate, only 24% of homeowners set aside money for home repairs and maintenance, but home maintenance is something you can plan for.
The single biggest regret that homeowners have is that the hidden costs of homeownership, often maintenance and upkeep, tends to be a surprise. And in that, we hear that over and over again from homeowners. And so that's an important consideration, whether you're buying your first home or you're moving up to another property.
According to Thumbtack, lower maintenance costs are in cities with a lower cost of living and more job creation, cities like Houston and Orlando. In Glendale, Colorado, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
Finally tonight, body camera video showing how a rescue team in Colorado jumped into action this week.
Another shovel on the end of my sled, red pack.
Well, that's a rescue team out of Summit County, Colorado. They used shovels Tuesday to dig out a person buried under the snow. That skier got trapped for more than 1 hour after an avalanche at Vail Pass. Rescue teams say the skier was freed with only minor injuries. Very fortunate. Well, want to thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Frank Malakote. Have yourselves a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday night.